Hello everyone and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 3. Oh, it is time. Oh, I've been waiting for this. This is such a different feeling compared to the last DLC. So, let me just say that when it comes to like recent additions to 3, like going back to say when they added Immortal Empires, and then, of course, the Chaos Dwarves. Like, those were things that, how could you not get excited about it? You know, Immortal Empires, the gigantic mega campaign combining all 3 games and all the factions was finally coming, and they had that awesome Immortal Empires trailer. Gosh, I still love that trailer so much to this day. Like, it felt like it was an epic cinematic intro to what was going to be, like, a Netflix series focused on Warhammer Fantasy. And wouldn't that have been awesome, you know, just to like get like a show or some movies with these actors playing these characters, seeing it play out? Oh, that would have been so cool. I want more of that cinematic narrative experience in this type of game. I know like the sandbox thing is kind of like an important component to this, but there are some of us that do want that more, you know, cinematic narrative experience when it comes to our Total War Warhammer campaigns, which we, from what I've heard, may be on their way with at least one of the lords that's part of this DLC, but we'll get there. I'll talk about that when we get there. But then there was Shadows of Change. Although, actually, hold on, I skipped Chaos Dwarves. Now, I wasn't necessarily hyped for Chaos Dwarves because I was more so intrigued because everybody else was, because they knew about the Chaos Dwarves and they'd been wanting the Chaos Dwarves. I was just curious and interested in just getting to know more about them, you know, because I had heard them hyped up so much. Shadows of Change, I wasn't really hyped for because it was focusing on Tzeentch, a faction I didn't really... When it comes to the Chaos God, Monogod factions, I didn't really like Tzeentch that much. And Kislev and Cathay, I liked, but I don't necessarily love. But that DLC did add stuff to those factions, which I think helped, especially Tzeentch. I've actually recently replayed another campaign as the Changeling in Immortal Empires, and it was a very fun campaign. I also have found some mods that focus on Tzeentch that add some units to the Tzeentch faction, which are really, really cool units. And so I had a lot of fun with my Changeling campaign. So Tzeentch as a Monogod faction has grown on me because of that DLC. So I've grown to like Shadows of Change more as time has gone on. This one, though, I was so excited for, because this was going to focus on Nurgle. It was not only going to be adding lords, but also reworking the faction to make them better, because even though I do enjoy playing Nurgle, they are a little frustrating to play sometimes. It was also going to be focusing on 2 factions that, you know, have been in the game since the first game, but had not really gotten, like... I mean, they got some updates, but not as much as we were hoping, like an actual rework. And this was going to be bringing reworks to all 3 of these factions and adding some interesting lords. So I was excited for all 3. However, there is something I do have to address before we get underway here, before I start talking about the goodies that come with this patch. Because it's not just the DLCs, it's also the patch itself, including a free LC Lord, which I'm very excited to play, and I will make a video separate about that guy you see on the screen there, under free content. I'll talk more about him when we get there. But they decided to do something different with the DLCs this time. Thrones of Decay is separated into 3 separate DLCs. One for each faction and each lord. One for Nurgle, one for the Empire, and one for the Dwarves. Now, I was not sure what was going to be the pricing for these, because that's obviously one of the big discussion topics when it comes to the DLCs for this franchise, and how Sega, it seems, likes to get as much money from their customers as they can. And the thing that people were upset about when it came to like Shadows of Change was it being twice priced at $25, which, yeah. So this time, they did not let people like pre-order this DLC. They waited until it actually came out for that to get revealed, because it kept saying coming soon. Even until last night, it said coming soon. And it wasn't until this morning when I got up and checked the Steam store that I saw it listed at $8.99 each. Which on their own, okay, $9 for just one of them. If you want to get all three of them together, though, it's actually, my subtotal came out at $27. So it's actually more expensive than Shadows of Change was. With tax, it actually ended up being $29. So I do have to, bring that up and mention that if you do want to get all three of these, it's actually going to cost you a little bit more than Shadows of Change did. So I do have to bring that up. What I would also recommend is what I have said before, which is if you don't want to get them at full price now and you just want to wait, just add them to your wish list and wait for that email that says this item has gone on sale, because it happens all the time on Steam. So just go ahead and do that, wait for it to go on sale at a discounted price, and then feel free to see whether or not you want to go ahead and grab them. So with that out of the way, let's now go ahead and get underway here. So yeah, I'm so hyped and looking forward to these. I've been watching stuff from other people, content creators and such, including those who had early access, like Lord Master of Sotek. Really excited about what was going to be coming with each of these lords and each of these, especially to the reworks of the factions, because it's not just that the lords I'm looking forward to and their unique mechanics, it's the changes to the factions themselves that I'm looking forward to that affect the other lords. Like, one of my biggest questions was, okay, like, adding these, like, now you'll see they're actually listed here, and it's like, okay, adding Tamurkhan here to Nurgle, that's fine, but how is that going to, say, affect Kugath? How is, say, the changes that Malachi is going to bring, how does that affect the other Legendary Lords? How is that going to affect Thorgrim? How is that going to affect Thoric? I had never really played Ungrim or Belagar before. How is it going to change them? I played Grumbrindal like a bit, but not that much. How are Malachi's changes going to affect him? And the same thing with the Empire. How is what Elspeth brings to the Empire faction, how is that going to change Carl? How is that going to change these other guys? And how, you get my point. And from what I've heard, they are all, like, benefiting from these changes. Like, the changes that are going to Kugath are going to dramatically make him better. The changes that are coming to the Empire are going to dramatically benefit the likes of Balthazar and especially Carl. In fact, some of these guys got changes unique to themselves. And I will talk about these in a separate video. But from what I've been hearing, a lot of these guys are dramatically benefiting from the changes that the new DLCs, Lords, and this patch are bringing to them. So let's just say there's incentive to not only just play the new DLC Lords, but to go ahead and play the other Lords as well. So let's just say I have the intention that in recent times, now that this is out, that I'll probably be playing a lot more of the Dwarves, the Empire, and Nurgle as we progress. So I'm really looking forward to experiencing and playing some of these other guys that I either have not played in a while or haven't played, like, basically at all. So, like, I'll talk more about, like, the changes to, say, Nurgle and our new boy in Immortal Empires for Nurgle that you can't see because he's only Immortal Empires exclusive, Epidemius. The honor of carrying the grandfather. Yeah, again, I'll make a separate video talking about Epidemius. For now, however, a world drowned in rot is no mere dream. Tamurkhan, the Maggot Lord. So, I've learned some interesting lore about Tamurkhan and his story. And also, from what I've heard, he's going to be pretty strong. But of course, one of the other great things is, of course, the changes, as well as the new units. Oh, I love it when new units are added. Some of them can be really cool. And yeah. So, Tamurkhan, the Maggot Lord, has been known by many names, each more vile and grotesque than the last. As a powerful Chaos Lord and one of the greatest Kurgan champions of Nurgle in recent history, his divine patron has blessed him with the ability to burrow into almost any host, taking control of their body as if he were its puppet master. Though his reeking... I'm still waking up. I just had breakfast. I took myself. Just cut me some slack here. Though his reeking maggot corpse has commandeered many faces, the ogre tyrant, Karaka Break Mountain, has become a favored host. In such a powerful body, Tamurkhan now gathers his great horde, determined to fulfill a twisted prophecy that tells of a horrific reign of terror across the Chaos Wastes and beyond. Death and disease shall run rampant in the Bringer of Desolation's wake, for his hordes are seemingly endless and bent on destroying the world. So, in the realms of chaos, he'll be starting right here, which is just above where Kugath is. You see Kugath starts down here at the sewers, and Tamurkhan is right over here, just above in the plains of Zanbai Jin, I believe. I think, or is that the Immortal Empire's one? It's worth noting that you can see here that while Kugath, of course, starts way down here in Immortal Empires, Tamurkhan starts way up here, which I believe that's where the plains of Zanbai Jin are. So, but in Realms of Chaos, he's actually not too far off from where Kugath is. So, he starts off with some new units. Plague Ogres, they are now officially in the game. I believe you could get these as a mod, because I've seen them when I've used some mods to add units to the game. So those are new. Pestigores, those are new. And Rot Knights. I may do a video showing off all the all the new units. Thank you, I can talk. For the factions. Because, yeah. But I'll also try and talk about the changes to the factions, or try to, remember how many of them, because there's quite a bit. He has access to Tamurkhan's chieftains, providing unique heroes and units and abilities, and I will try and cover that. All his armies get plus 10% campaign movement range, and recruitment health for all non-demonic units get 10% more health. His Lord effects. His wound recovery time is -3, so if he gets killed, he'll be back in just a couple of turns. He'll be right back. He gets the ability Nurgle's Favored Son, which for 40 seconds, he gets plus 24 melee defense and plus 20% damage resistance. He's a tanky boy. Oh yeah, he is a tanky boy, and he hits like a truck, from what I've seen. His army gets plus 5 melee attack for non-demonic units, and attribute immune to psychology for non-demonic units. So, all the non-demonic units in his army will be immune to fear and terror. So, let's go ahead and check out the intro for Tamurkhan. An ancient prophecy foretells of a vile and deathly force of chaos, led by a monstrous champion capable of uniting the armies of their wretched god to conquer the unholy proving ground of Zanbai Jin. Now legend sits on the verge of reality. Tamurkhan, the great Kurgan Lord of Chaos, has declared himself the fabled bringer of desolation, seeking to lead the virulent the virulent war hosts of Nurgle in a sweeping tide of rot. Burrowed deep in the body of an ogre tyrant, he puppets his hideous host with the blessing of the Ur-Father, riding before his great horde to spread death and destruction in abundance. The misguided pawns of lesser gods will no doubt try to stand in his way, a mistake the Maggot Lord will make sure to punish severely.
From the farthest reaches of the Chaos Wastes, he came, spreading decay in the name of Nurgle. Many heroes fought fiercely to defend their lands, but all fell. Their lifeless corpses, pierced by his razor-barbed teeth. Powerful fighters, made unwilling host to the Maggot Lord. And so, Tamurkhan remains a parasite in the putrefying body of an ogre tyrant, amassing a war host the likes of which has never been witnessed. What will consume all? The forces of blood and murder stir, courting their demise at the hands of Tamurkhan's horde. They must be annihilated, along with the Sintian scourge lurking before Zambaijin. Thus, from the ashes of the fallen city will emerge a powerful war host, fit to drown the world in filth. The nearby armies of Nurgle may prove useful in the march of conquest, if the Maggot Lord can prove his crushing dominance.
So begins my conquest of rot and ruin.
So I was wrong. It's actually the Writhing Fortress that we started off at. It's been a while since I played the Realms of Chaos map, so I kind of forget where certain things are. What's funny is that we know that, like, the Gallows Tree is right over here, but the Sunken Sewers is actually not on the Immortal Empire's map, which I found funny. Anyways, I have this mod for a reason. So yeah, the Gallows Tree is right over here, which has a landmark, of course. And then the Sunken Sewers. The funny thing is, though, I think, if I recall, the Sunken Sewers is not actually... Or maybe it is. Maybe it's, like... Gosh, anyways. I just remember at times I was looking for these as Kugath, and I was like, wait, why aren't they here? So, anyways. Don't mind me. Ah, yes, the Court of the Covenant. I also love the mods I have that add many more landmark buildings throughout the map. Just because I think the landmark buildings are really cool. So, yeah, he's right over here. Let me go ahead and turn the Fog of War back off. But yeah, Kugath is just right down there. So we actually start off over here at the Writhing Fortress. Tamurkhan the Maggot Lord seeks to conquer the Throne of Chaos as its greatest champion, wielding the plagues of Nurgle and aided by the services of powerful chieftains of chaos from across the world. Performing deeds looked upon favorably by each chieftain will grant the Maggot host access to their associated units and unique powers, eventually leading to each chieftain's final battle. Having enough chieftains reach the devoted level of fealty will lead Tamurkhan to his campaign victory. And our first quest is to recruit the first and most, like, his lieutenant. I've heard this name pronounced a couple different ways. I'm going to say Kha'Zix, the Befouled. The weak bow before the strong, and the strong bow before the even mightier still. Such is the way of the ruinous powers. Thus, with a display of tremendous might, the chieftains of chaos would have no choice but to swear you their allegiance. The Tamurkhan's chieftain panel will allow you to recruit unique heroes, each granting access to unique chieftain abilities and units. So let me see if I can go ahead and access that and show that to you guys. Huh. Usually it's like a unique thing, or maybe I can't do it at this moment. Oh, so we get like an extra thing here explaining a bit more about them. So, but I want to show it off. But it looks like it's like, hey, progress and you'll be able to unlock it. So, also let me first show you guys. This is the new tech tree for Nurgle. I think it's definitely a better tree from what I've been seeing. They divide it into categories here. They've taken inspiration. I think the Chaos Dwarves influenced the developers to be like, you know what? These are some good ideas. Why don't we take some of these ideas and use them in other factions? Because the Chaos Dwarves had 3 separate categories for lots of skills in their tech tree. And I've seen this used with other factions, not just in the base game by Creative Assembly, but also with modders. They've been doing this with, there are some mods that work on the tech trees that have been using this as a template to kind of like, okay, we'll go ahead and add some more, but we'll do it in separate categories, which I really like. I like that. Also, you'll notice that infections are now a currency for the tech tree. It actually provides infections with more, but I'll talk about that in a bit once we get the plague mechanic unlocked, which it looks like we can't just yet. But there's different categories here. This is for the faction, and then this is the military, where like some will focus on infantry. This side will focus on like cavalry and war beasts, and then this will focus on things like the lords and other like really strong units like great unclean ones. So it's a little bit more organized and less messy. It's been a while since I played this game without mods. I mean, I do have a few mods. I've got the Toggle Fog of War mod. I've got the Better Camera mod. I've got the mod that lets you skip the splash screen when you boot up the game. I think that's a terrific mod. So, you're probably wondering about, well, Tamurkhan. Well, he's Great Axe. He has Armor Piercing Melee, Anti-Large, Damage Dealer, and Ogre Charge. And look at his stats. He has Poison attacks. He has really high leadership. And, yeah. Like I said, he's a tanky boy. He causes fear. He's a siege attacker. He's got the Mark of Nurgle. Ogre Charge, which is like when you attack a brace charge of defenders, it loses only half of its charge bonus. He is a wall breaker. He's unbreakable. He has Hide in the Forest, which is funny considering his size. He has Encourage. He has Rotting Host, which makes enemies lose base weapon damage, armor-piercing weapon damage, and less leadership. Feast of the Maggot Lord, a passive. So this is one of the unique things here. If you get him to fatal damage, he will heal, and he will also cause damage to an enemy and kill them, and then he'll basically stay alive. Because what's basically happening is when you kill him, he is like, okay, I'm just going to now kill you and then take your body, basically. So, yeah.
Effect!
Huh. It's decisive, which is interesting. Let's go ahead and fight this, because of course I want to show you off Tamurkhan and some of the new units that are in here. Not all of them, but some of them. There's the Pestigors. Poison attacks, Vanguard, armor-piercing melee, and scaly skin. Also, Tamurkhan's mount is a new unit called a Toad Dragon. So here he is, the big boy himself.
The masters speak.
Isn't he just gorgeous? If you're wondering about this slit down the middle, that's because that's how the maggot gets inside the body. So from what I've heard, this is kind of spoilery, but this body, or rather him loving this ogre body and using it continuously, ends up being a fatal mistake for Tamurkhan.
They're a
because the body's going to keep rotting and decomposing, which is why he usually would just normally have just gone from body to body to body. But once he got this body, he didn't want to leave it because it was so strong and powerful. It's an ogre, of course it is. But it doesn't stop the body from rotting away.
Plague and filth!
Here are the Rot Knights. Oh, look at their mounts. Also, it looks like they actually have some intestines hanging out. Yeah, they do. Wow. So this is interesting. I guess Creative Assembly were able to kind of get away with this, or they felt like this was not too grotesque to the point where they could have this without risking the rating getting bumped up to M. From what I've heard, it's accurate, according to like the tabletop models and such, but yeah. Plague ogres. That's right. Splash your face with some nice, like, rot and... yeah. Of course, Chaos Warriors of Nurgle.
There will be done.
Alright, so this is not a big army. Oh, also Pestigors. Which, I've heard that some of the other factions, like the Beastmen and the Warriors of Chaos, do benefit from getting, being able to actually get some of these new units. So this is not, like, exclusive to Nurgle. Like, Beastmen and Chaos factions get this as well. Including Festus the Leech Lord, by the way. Alright, I'm actually going to have to play the game a bit here. Forgive me if you have tuned in to see good gameplay, that you're not going to find that here. I am not a good player at this game. That's why I play on easy, and that's why I use mods. Whoops.
A street wound is as valuable to father as a fresh corpse. A new locus! For the Maggot Lord! Good plan! When do we eat? Smash! Kill! Maim! Burn! Bringer of desolation! For sure! Unbridled destruction! With toxic intentions! Forward! The crow brings death! Tamurkhan!
Figured you guys would want to watch Tamurkhan just absolutely wreck and annihilate the infantry. Because, yeah, he hits like a truck. And his cleave, woo!
We are the plague!
Let me see how the rest of the army's doing. Okay, they're good. Charging from behind!
Tamurkhan! Leading the way! Yes!
Right now you focus on their lord. There, the plague ogres came in.
most favored. Fornagle!
Where are you guys going? No, 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 no. Did take some hits, but we'll be fine. After all, we're going to be getting a legendary hero in a moment.
This was not meant to be!
No, it was not.
No!
Obliterate them!
Get him! Get him, Rot Knights!
This was not meant to be!
Alright. Also, I apologize a bit for the stuttering and such. I don't exactly play on the best machine. Alright. So, Incubate, we get infections. Devour for replenishment, and offers a tribute for money.
Give them to the demons! Man, woman, child.
Alright.
Tamurkhan!
Alright, so this is Tamurkhan's skill tree. Here's his mount, the Toad Dragon. Bubolos? Bubebolos? However you want to say that. He, of course, has a, not quite the similar kind of skill tree, personally, that Scarbrand would have, say, for example, but, yeah. Oh gosh, just constantly, his stench reduces the leadership. Love it. And then he can also get Pestilent Decay, causing damage to enemies. That's great. He can increase his army's calorie replenishment for non-demonic units. Even more armor-piercing weapon damage and heroic killing blow. More hit points and regen. Yup. Yup. Buffs to plague ogres. Have them cause terror. And more unspeakable foulness for Toad Dragon units for all armies faction-wide, and unbreakable for all armies faction-wide. Vigor loss reduction for his army, and 25% less upkeep for armies in local province. Alright. Even more weapon strength damage. Because he's already hitting like a truck. Let's just make him hit even harder. You know?
A gift from Father. At them, my host.
Alright, so we'll just go ahead and take this.
Tamurkhan, lead you.
And we'll go ahead and loot and occupy, because why not? Alright, so now it's finally unlocked the Chieftains panel. Alright, here we go. The Tamurkhan's Chieftains panel allows recruitment of unique heroes. Yes, yes, yes. Selected chieftains are recruited via this button for the specified dominance. Is already available to recruit. Kazakh the Befouled. This section of the panel can be expanded to display more information on any currently selected character, including his background, traits, and equipment. Okay. Chieftains progress through fealty levels that are displayed here. Pledged, aligned, committed, and devoted, with each level unlocking the listed units and chieftain abilities. Your chieftains will provide access to many units that are not normally available to Nurgle factions. They can be purchased here for the specified dominance, allowing you to instantly recruit them via the Recruit Chieftain Units tab. As chieftain fealty improves, you will unlock powerful chieftain abilities, which may prove instrumental in the conquest to come. As your chieftains reach new levels of fealty, other chieftains will also become available to recruit. And then chieftains can attain devoted level of fealty and its rewards once you have successfully aided them in their final battle. Alright, so we have enough, in case you're wondering, This is dominance. The dominance of Nurgle's chosen one grows with his every conquest, allowing Tamurkhan to amass great influence in his quest to be Chaos's most powerful warlord. Dominance is used to purchase chieftain abilities and units in Tamurkhan's chieftains panel. Dominance is gained primarily from winning battles. So, Khazak the Befouled, a bloodthirsty knight that is dedicated to the cause of rot and ruin. The Kurgan warrior Khazak the Befouled has dedicated all to the service of Nurgle, Lord of Decay. The rotting, pestilent mass that was once his flesh is untouched by pleasure or pain. Even should such feeling be possible, he could not give voice to it, for his vocal cords are no more than an open wound. Not even his soul remains to him, for it was offered to the Plague Father as a trinket long ago. Now Khazak stands as nothing but a testament to the full horrors of Nurgle's blessings. So his trait is plus 5% campaign movement range for the army he's in, and he also provides a talisman called the Icon of Decay, which provides plus 15 charge bonus, and a passive called Wasting Sickness, which causes enemies in melee to get minus 25% mass, minus 10% base weapon damage, and minus 10% armor-piercing weapon damage. So, yeah. We increase the fealty of Khazak by creating plagues and defeating Warriors of Chaos, Khorne, Slaanesh, Tzeentch, or Norska in battle, because he basically considers every other Chaos faction to be an enemy, because only Nurgle is the true Chaos faction. To Khazak. There's no other than Nurgle, of course. So, we have now recruited Khazak. He is pledged. He unlocks the Chariots of Nurgle, along with the unique talisman and trait. As we progress, we will be able to unlock Rot Knights and Toad Dragons. This is what I was talking about. And you'll also be able to get more unit capacity, because yes, they also have the unit capacity thing that factions like I mentioned earlier, the Chaos Dwarves have. Now what about these other guys? This is Kargan the Crazed. Some tales told in bawdy taverns or recounted amid frightened whispers in small towns describe Kargan the Crazed as the personification of chaos itself. Gripped by delirium and madness, this distinguished warrior of chaos is exalted by the ruinous powers, drawing the most avid worshippers of blood and carnage to his banner to wreak havoc upon the mortal realm. Though he spirals in a blood frenzy of his own making, Kargan is not without direction. He leads his warband against the forces of order wherever they appear and pledges himself to any cause that will lead him into the heart of violent slaughter. Oh, I just realized there was something else I didn't talk about with Khazak. His abilities. So once you increase and get the dominance, you can be able to unlock his abilities, which the first one is enables attrition for enemy armies in the current province he's in. And the next one will be a chance of a plague spreading by plus 20% for all armies. Turns for cooldown 10, and that will become available once you get him to committed. So, Kargan, plus 25% campaign movement range after raising a settlement, bit of inspiration from Scarbrand there. Plus 5% income from raising settlements, faction-wide, and a talisman that provides Aura of Madness, which causes damage to enemies, and an ability called Witness Me, plus 40% damage resistance. He can unlock Aspiring Champions, Hell Cannons, and Dragon Ogre Shaggoths. And we increase his fealty by raising settlements and defeating Empire, Bretonia, Cathay, or Kislev. He can provide perfect vigor for all units in his current army, and completely refill campaign movement range for Kargan for his army. So a bit of inspiration from Torox there, it seems. This is Ketzak Fimdrach. Though the Famir were long since abandoned by the malevolent gods of chaos, the mysterious power of their Bale Fiend sorcerers are still frequently used in the service of the ruinous powers. Among these dark magic users, there are few more dedicated to the cause than Ketzak Fimdrach. I hope I'm pronouncing these right. A Bale Fiend of rare skill and intelligence, he is prophesied by the Myr to restore greatness to the Fimir clans. Thus a glorious destiny calls him forth on a quest of great importance to understanding the deepest arcane law of the word and wreak havoc in the name of his long overlooked race. He provides income from sacking settlements and more Winds of Magic power reserve. His sigil, his talisman provides less cost for overcast spells and causes fear and terror. We increase fealty by researching tech, defeating high elves, dark elves, or wood elves. He provides Fimir warriors with great weapons, and a Chaos Frost dragon. He provides abilities such as minus 100% for enemy armies starting their turn in the same province, minus 100% campaign movement range. So they're just stuck there in that province. That's hilarious. Army ability, Dance of Despair for the current army, which it's a hex, and for 45 seconds removes, oh my gosh, it removes all these attributes. That's hysterical. Oh, a skin wolf. Mourn howl. The tight bonds among a pack of werekin are severed only in death, leaving scars that never truly heal. Such are the wounds of Mournhowl, a ferocious and tragic figure among his tribe, who after the brutal slaughter of his kin, now lets his grief echo through the night. With much of his tribe devoured by a giant Jabberslythe named Scrailsbane, driven to madness and tainted by the winds of magic, Mournhowl alone leads the survivors in their quest for vengeance. With violent retribution in his heart, his powerful form stalks the land, vowing never to rest until the blood of his pack have finally been avenged. So he provides stalk during ambushes for all units in his army, plus 10% ambush success chance, plus 10% ambush defense chance. His talisman provides frostbite attacks for all non-Nurgle chieftain units in the army and Death Frenzy. You increase his fealty by raiding and defeating lizardmen, ogres, beastmen, or chaos dwarves. He provides skin wolves. He provides feral mammoths and war mammoths. And then his abilities, he enables stalking stance for the current army and stalking stance for all armies. Wow. So he can just help turn the entire, Tamurkhan's faction into the Skaven. Grunkmur Threehorn. Old and beaten down by time, Grunkmur is a brave shaman born of the most wild and terrible magic. Countless scars have made a tarnished canvas of his skin, marking him as a surviving veteran of more battles than he ever hoped to be a part of. Such endless tribulations... Hold on a second. Need a drink. Doing all this reading, excuse me. Such endless tribulations have left him drained by fear and the weariness of ages, yet Grunkmur once again finds himself dragged into combat by the braying of his kin. They march to war on the sweet promise of slaughter and meat, and if Grunkmur hopes to avoid the ire of his betters, he has no choice but to rush into battle beside them. He provides more raiding faction-wide, and his raiding stance causes Nurgle corruption. He provides spell resistance for all units in the army, and Savage Dominion. You increase his fealty by purchasing chieftain units, as well as defeating vampire counts, vampire coast, or tomb kings. He provides Centaurs that do throwing axes, Cygors, and Gorgons. He enables the Beast Path stance for his army, and enables the Beast Path stance for all armies. And last but certainly not least, a Chaos Dwarf named Ezar Doombolt. With ambitions forged in the raging industrial furnaces of the Darklands, Ezar Doombolt is as determined and cruel as any Chaos Dwarf, willing to do anything to improve his standing among his peers. Driven by an unending greed, he forges a path built upon the backs of withered slaves and bloody corpses. I thought they were laborers. Though selfishness and disloyalty mark him as a most unreliable follower, he is not without reason. Promises of war spoils and captives he can send back to Tsar Nagrund to increase his own prestige are more than enough to secure his assistance, if only temporarily. He provides income from looting settlements, recruit rank for all chieftain units, explosive missile damage plus 20%, and plus 15% missile strength for his own army. You increase his fealty by looting settlements and defeating the Skaven, the Greenskins, and the Dwarves. He provides blunderbusses, infernal guards with fire glaives, and dreadquake mortars. He also provides the abilities replenishment in enemy territory, and the current army will be fully replenished. Wow. So yeah, Kazakh the Befouled has been recruited. A bloodthirsty... Alright, so that's the same thing I already read, I believe. Yeah. Trait gained, contagion pledged. Yep. So you also notice that Kazakh does not go on foot. He always rides his own Rotbeast mount. Isn't it lovely? Oh, I don't have the mod that lets me rotate. I have a mod that lets me rotate these guys on the screen. I really like doing it so I can look at other aspects. And I can't, like, rotate to show you the Rotbeast he's riding. That's unfortunate. This vile, mutilated steed bears its rider into the very thick of battle, where any wounds scored upon its cancerous flesh are sealed by the pus sweeping from its foetid body. Isn't that just lovely? Just wonderful. You also notice he starts off with a couple of unique items. The Sword of Filth and the Icon of Decay, which provides a bonus of plus 5% ward save and more no corruption. So let's get him into Tamurkhan's army. There we go. Alright, so now to talk about something else that you guys haven't gotten, that I haven't shown off yet. The changes to the buildings. Oh my goodness. Alright, so I didn't hate this design when it came to the buildings, but having it be that way for almost all of them was a little frustrating, like, having it be for, like, the economic buildings was frustrating. The military buildings, it did make sense, but it also did provide some frustrations, like, when it came to the garrisons and such. But they realized that that was a problem, and they have been able to go ahead and try to fix some of these. So, thank goodness for that. So, we'll go ahead and repair those. It's already got the swamp over here, okay. Alright, so we get to see... Alright, so there's more buildings over here than there was over here. I didn't show you guys... Alright, so now we can see the others. This is the other advanced military buildings over here, which provide a number of other pretty awesome units. Like, of course, we're going to be able to get the Toad Dragons and the Great Unclean Ones later on. And you can also see there's a number there showing you'll get, I guess, this many charges of this unit once it gets to this point. So that, that is worth noting, of course. But look at some of the... better, more interesting infrastructure buildings over here, like getting a lot more growth and Nurgle corruption, being able to provide more recruitment health for when you actually recruit your units, more income generated, more control and infections per turn, since you're going to be needing to a lot of infections. And the rotten ramparts, which provide walls, which are the walls. So that is nice, and provides more stuff with your garrisons. That's really nice as well. So then, of course, up here is that same panel I showed you guys before. I'm trying to think if there's... Oh! We have not unlocked Plague yet. So let me see if we'll go ahead and... let's also go ahead and grab... those
Rust and rot.
for Tamurkhan. And then let's see if I can unlock the plague mechanic. So I can show that to you guys. And show you guys how different that is now.
Those plagues are my heralds, and the worthy have heard my call.
Okay. So he already wants us to go ahead and recruit another one. That's another mission, but we'll have to work our way towards that.
Nagon's champion! Follow, warriors!
Oh, this is where you can recruit them here. Alright, let's see.
These ogreish men smoked my command. So many true, fecund followers.
I probably should have done that in the last turn so they could get some more health, but oh well. Oh. Look at you trying to raid my territory.
Strengthened once they kneel before me.
Oh.
Souls of sickness and death. Desolation for all!
Oh. I have to earn more infections before I can even unlock it, apparently. Well, that's unfortunate.
Magic Lord!
We have to go a little longer than I wanted to here. Hello!
Lay them to waste! Save the eyes for me! Electrobomb!
More leadership and more weapon damage. He, of course, will have his own quest battle at 17 to get the Black Cleaver. That thing there. Which, yeah, makes him hit even harder. And, of course, look at that ability. Woo! And immune to contact effects. Whew.
Hand of rot!
Hates Zinch, of course. Screw Zinch. Let's get that Nurgle corruption up.
Value the help! Master of hosts! Find a way or make one!
Gosh, turns are so much faster on this map than on Immortal Empires. Can you tell it's been a while since I've played a campaign on this map? And it's just like, oh my gosh, it's so fast.
Sweeter still the blessings of Nurgle! Favored of Nurgle!
Oh. Hey, Dungrut.
Fathers, be calm, children. This one is not to be killed today. Grandfather will be delighted.
Yes, Grandfather will be so happy.
Perhaps you could spare me a biopsy sample. We'll spread.
Yes, we will. I mean, may as well get friendly with Kugath, right? And Dungrut. Though what's funny is that I have a mod that can, if I wanted to, can replace Dungrut with Valmir the Reaper. At least I think his name is Valmir. It's another character I know some people want to see added by Creative Assembly to the game. Plus 15
Spewing rot and ruin. Despoil them.
Let's go ahead and start raiding this place. My control is fine, actually. It's in the negative, but it's also going up. So, probably because the amount of Nurgle corruption is definitely going up.
Molded in the farthest.
The only issue is that this army is not going to heal while I'm here raiding, so... That can be something I can unlock later, though, with one of the chieftains, but not now.
Son of the sickly winds, make it shine.
But this also gives me an opportunity to gain more infections. Because I am gaining infections while raiding as well.
Bring the taint of Nurgle to them.
At least I think I am. Never mind, it's the buildings that are providing me the plus 10 to infections. Yeah, because of this building right here, that's why. I also love the mod that lets me be able to increase the level of minor settlements up to even tier 5. So that these buildings right here don't have this X on them. I can actually put them here if I wanted to. And just opening those options, being able to, like, not limit, like, oh, well, I could put this building here, but then I can't get, like, the tier 4 version of that building, you know? It just opens that up, and I just love that. So you'll notice that didn't just cost me favor, that actually cost me infections. This is why getting infections... Oh, here we go. Plagues unlocked. Okay.
Bring her up, Rictus.
Welcome to the new plague mechanic. They even have a tutorial here to let you know what has changed. The Plagues panel allows Nurgle factions to create plagues on the campaign map in return for infections. Plagues can cause positive effects for Nurgle factions or negative effects for non-Nurgle factions. All plagues are made up of 3 symptoms from the panel, each providing both types of effects. Give this mechanic to Skrulk of the Skaven, please. Come on. I have a mod that does that, but it's going to have to change to fit this new version of the plague system. Selecting an available symptom will begin the creation of a new plague, which will usually be like right here. After selecting a starting symptom, only adjacent symptoms may be added to the plague. Adjacent symptoms will be highlighted in the panel as shown. Actually, it looks like I don't have to select this one. I could just pick different ones, but, you know, I'll bet this tutorial will explain it. Symptoms can also become blessed, boosting their effects. If a blessed symptom is used in a plague, it will consume its blessing, no longer having its boosted effects for the next one. When a symptom is selected for a new plague, its positive and negative effects for Nurgle and non-Nurgle factions, respectively, will be displayed here. Once 3 symptoms have been selected, the plague modifiers will then become available to improve the new plague. Plagues can have their duration and chance to spread increase at the cost of more infections. So we can be able to increase the chance that it spreads, increase the duration of the plague, and here reduce the duration that faction will then have after the plague is over of immunity from these plagues. Immunity duration can also be reduced as part of a plague's modifiers. This is the number of turns that a plagued non-Nurgle target will resist catching any new plagues after this one's effects expire. The reason this is a thing is because how annoying was it when you would get a plague and then after you got rid of it, you got infected with another plague immediately afterwards. So you're just constantly getting hit with plagues. It was really annoying when you were playing against Nurgle. Before the plague can be created, it must be assigned a target where it will be released onto the campaign map. Only forces and settlements that you own can be selected on a target revealed using this button. Once a target for your plague has been selected, you can choose one of two creation methods. The infect option directly infects your force or settlement with the plague from which it can spread. The summoned cultist option brings forth a plague cultist who carries the plague to infect enemies directly via their agent action. For every 3 plagues that are created, symptom locations in the panel will randomize and new blessed symptoms will appear. Any symptom previously used in a plague will become available as a starting symptom to create future plagues. So the more you do this, the more of these will become available as a starting option. So like for now, I can only select this as my starting option. But the more I do this, the more these, as I continue using them, will then become starting options. So like if I select this one for this plague, I can use this one as a starting one for the next plague, and so on and so forth. You get the idea. I love the change of the system. I love this. And it's worth noting the Blessed Symptoms thing. This is a big deal when you now play Kugath, because one of the new changes to Kugath is that he gets more Blessed Symptoms as you progress through your campaign with him. At, like, I believe one of the effects is as he levels, or as, yeah, like every 10 levels, he gets more Blessed Symptoms added. So the way someone described this, I believe it was Lord Master of Sotek who said this, is that Kugath is going to be focused on the quality of his plagues, compared to, say, our new guy Epidemius, who focuses on the quantity of plagues. He doesn't care how effective the plagues are, he just wants to get them going and get them created. In fact, that's one of his mechanics, but I'll talk about that in a separate video when we get to him. So we'll go ahead and select this. Also, you'll notice, like, okay, so what can I use my plagues on right now? Well, I could either target Tamurkhan, I could target my settlements, or I could target the enemy army and settlement. So if I select the settlement here, I can then be able to then go ahead and continue with, so we've got this one where it's going to increase our casualty replenishment, which maybe I should go ahead and just select that on myself for now, to increase our replenishment. And then let's see, we can get more growth, which right now is blessed. So if it's blessed, its effects are increased, as you see. Vanguard deployment for all units, that's funny. And they get less speed, and we get more melee defense. We greatly replenishes the hit points of... so we get Fleshy Abundance, and their battle healing cap is reduced. So this will actually be relevant when you play as Kugath against Helman Gorst, because his healing cap will just get dramatically cut. It's actually really funny. So we get more melee defense and they get less melee defense. We'll do that. So, the thing is, I unfortunately don't have infections. Like, I just use them on the building, so now I don't have any infections to do this on. So that's rather unfortunate. So I actually will not be able to go ahead and do the plague right now. But at least I showed you the mechanic. So, anyways. And he ran out of my range, so instead I'll just go after the settlement instead. We'll give that to Kazakh. There we go.
Strike, my host. You take leave of your senses.
Okay, so I think you guys now have a pretty good, decent idea. Looks like I actually now have enough to unlock the chariots. Hey! So now I can go ahead and recruit the chariots for my army. Yay! Which gives me more dominance back for that quest. Very nice. So, yeah, I hope you guys now have a pretty good, decent idea as to what's going on with Tamurkhan here. So, yeah, I think that this is great, and I really am looking forward to playing more of Tamurkhan and seeing how this campaign will go. I look forward to trying out each of the different chieftains and seeing how this is going to go. Oh, before I cut this off, though, let's see what his campaign objectives are. So his campaign victory is complete 3 of the chieftain's devoted battles. But, you know, like once you get the fealty, you get their final battles I mentioned. And then, of course, there's the domination campaign victory, which is destroy Non, Greasus, Kairos, and Village, and maintain control of 30 provinces. And you got your domination campaign victory. So yeah, it looks like that's just at least 3 of those devoted battles, and you win your campaign. At least that's how it is in Realms of Chaos. I imagine it will be like 5 or all of them once you know, in Immortal Empires is my guess, that you'll have to do all 6 of these guys. But I am really looking forward to doing this. So that's one of our new 3 legendary lords. When we return, we will be taking a look at the new Empire Lord, Elspeth von Draken. Stay tuned!